Within the next 3 or 4 months, I should hit 2,000 subscribers, which means I've hit the big time. You know, I should be up there with Yankee Marshall, Military Arms Channel, Demolition Ranch. And it's become quite the hassle to take all my guns, my ammo, my cameras, and do all the setup. It's getting to be too much for one man. So I went and I got a roadie. Welcome to the Milsurp Mic channel. Today I want to talk about my Rhodesian Inspired FAL. I'll do another video in the future about the FAL in general, but I need to have a couple things done to my L1A1 before I take it out shooting. The Rhodesian Bush War was a place where the already respected FAL saw some of its harshest use and became even more loved and respected. And I'll venture to say that most who have more than one FAL are tempted to at least slap a Rhodesian camo job on one of them. Normally here's where I give a history that contains the events surrounding the use of the rifle, but since the Rhodesian Bush War lasted for more than 15 years, and the conflict is a complex along national, colonial, political, and racial fronts, I would have to make a 30-minute video and still only hit the high points. And no matter which narrative one takes, either this was a nationalistic uprising against minority rule, or communist-backed insurgents versus non-communists, and the conflict was both, you're bound to piss someone off. Basically, Rhodesia went from a colony country where it sucked for many people who lived there, to the country of Zimbabwe where it sucked for everyone who wasn't an associate of Mugabe. To the rifle. I must stress that mine is not an actual Rhodesian rifle. The DSA receiver, a very popular American-made receiver for FAL builds, that even has "Don't Tread on Me" stenciled on the magwell before a previous owner made this into a Rhodesian-inspired build, makes this plainly obvious. When looking for signs of an actual Rhodesian rifle, which can be rare in the US, Larry Vickers has one that he's made a few videos on, which is very informative on what to look for, such as South African scrubbing of Belgian FN rifles. Since Britain had an embargo placed on Rhodesia, South Africa did not want to be punished for helping the Rhodesians out, so they would mill out the South African crest from the magwell and remove any South African military markings from the rifle. Since there's really no set pattern of Rhodesian FAL rifles, there are many variants that show up since the Rhodesians had to use what they had. But the previous owner who put my rifle together had some nice touches. First, there is no carry handle, which was dumped sometime during the campaign thanks to someone losing an eye from deflected spent brass. There's the grenade launcher sight, which I've yet to test if this actually is functional. And by that I mean, does it actually block the gas tube? The takedown lever is in the configuration the Rhodesians preferred instead of upright. This made it less likely the full auto FALs would knock the takedown lever loose, which would really put a damper on you winning a skirmish. And of course I have to mention the paint job, which is accomplished by mixing green and blue, basically what the Rhodesians had on hand, to create the baby poop pattern that is famous among FAL owners. Some things that make it obviously not Rhodesian, as I mentioned, the receiver. Also, there's a sling and front sling swivel. Most Rhodesian rifles do not have a front sling swivel due to the noise that they can produce, and as Larry Vickers has said, have you ever seen a picture of a Rhodesian carrying an FAL with a sling? Still, I'm not going to go so far in authenticity that I'm going to remove the functionality of the sling. Even though I've had an FAL for a few years now, this is my first experience shooting one, as my L1A1 needs to have the muzzle brake attached to it. I know that's something that shouldn't keep me from shooting it, but I still yet to take it out. This rifle is a blast to shoot. Accurate with loads of knockdown power, I can see why many around the world would take the FAL any day over an AR or AK. I'm not sure I'm willing to go that far yet, but I can see where the love for this rifle comes from. Granted, I only have a sample size of one each when it comes to firing the FAL and M1A, but from those experiences, I would definitely take the FAL any day over the M1A M14. Please be aware of where your elected representatives and groups who claim to represent you stand when it comes to the Second Amendment. You just might find the Republican you supported and the NRA are closer to Feinstein than they are you. Please research and vote in the primary, or else the Republican Party establishment's choice may leave you with two anti-gun candidates in November. Please consider joining the GOA, a no-compromise organization who keeps you informed of what is actually going on. Most importantly, join your state's organization who does most of the fighting for your gun rights that pertain to you. Please check out my other videos, comment, like, and subscribe. Also, check out my Facebook, Twitter, and who I support on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.